The chandelier in the grand hall sparkled with countless crystals, casting shimmering rainbows across the luxurious setting. Rows of pale pink and white roses adorned every table, their fragrance mingling with the faint hum of polite conversations. Every detail, from the fine crystal glassware to the gold-rimmed ribbons adorning the chairs, was a testament to opulence. This was a wedding befitting Andrew Morrison, the only son of a family whose wealth and power were unparalleled. Andrew had grown up surrounded by privilege. His family controlled a vast empire of investments, real estate, and sprawling estates across the country. For the Morrisons, status and legacy were everything. Andrew had always had the best elite education, luxury cars, and an unrivaled position in the business world. To his family, anyone entering his life had to meet impossibly high standards. Sophia Reynolds, on the other hand, came from a humble, middle-class background. Her father was a mechanic, her mother a devoted elementary school teacher. Though her family wasn't wealthy, they were close-knit, bound by love and resilience. Sophia had dreamed of becoming an artist, but financial hardships forced her to pursue a more practical career. She met Andrew at a charity event she had helped organize. His charm and confidence swept her off her feet, and their relationship began like a fairy tale. Andrew introduced her to a world she had never known: lavish parties, exotic vacations, and fine dining. Despite feeling out of place in his world, Sophia worked hard to prove she belonged. But the differences between them were stark. The Morrisons, especially Andrew's mother, regarded Sophia with polite but unmistakable disdain. To them, she wasn't suitable for the family. Sophia felt the weight of their judgment but clung to the belief that Andrew's love could bridge the gap. Today, in an exquisite lace and satin gown, Sophia stood at the altar, her heart racing with a mix of nerves and excitement. The grand hall, with its grandeur and elegance, still felt foreign to her, but she believed this moment would make her truly part of Andrew's world. Andrew, in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, looked every bit the image of perfection. Yet his expression was distant, his blue eyes cold. As the priest began to speak, Andrew shifted slightly. His jaw tightened, and he took a step back. "Andrew?" Sophia whispered, her voice trembling as dread crept in. Andrew raised his head, but he didn't meet her eyes. Instead, he turned toward the guests, his voice calm yet cutting through the room like a blade. "I can't do this." A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, but Andrew pressed on, his tone sharp and unwavering. "This marriage is a mistake. Sophia isn't suited for my family's expectations." Sophia froze, the words striking her like a physical blow. She felt the weight of hundreds of eyes on her, judging, pitying, mocking. "Andrew, we've been together for 3 years. I love you," she managed to choke out, her voice cracking with desperation. Andrew's lips curled into a thin, detached smile. "Sophia, this isn't personal. It's about family and the future." Sophia's heart shattered as she realized the truth. In Andrew's eyes, she was nothing more than a mistake. Fighting to hold on to her dignity, she turned and fled. Her long veil trailed behind her, like the ghost of a dream she had once believed in. Sophia ran through the long hallway, her high heels clicking against the marble floor, the echo of each step mirroring the desperation in her heart. She stopped in a quiet corridor at the back of the venue, leaning against the cold wall, struggling to catch her breath. The whispers and gasps from the wedding seemed to echo in her head, along with Andrew's cruel words. Not suited for the family legacy. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she ripped off her veil and threw it onto the floor. The once sea-beautiful white gown now felt like a cruel mockery of her shattered dreams. She buried her face in her hands, trying to suppress the sobs that shook her shoulders, but the pain refused to be contained. "Miss, are you okay?" The deep, calm voice startled her. She looked up to see a man in a black security uniform standing a few steps away. Ethan Brooks, one of the event's security guards, with broad shoulders and a composed demeanor, gazed at her with concern and understanding. "Please, I just want to be alone," Sophia said, her voice hoarse from crying. Ethan nodded slowly. "I understand, but no one deserves what just happened. That wasn't fair to you." Sophia turned her face away, tears still falling. "You don't understand. I've lost everything. He said I wasn't good enough, and now everyone thinks so too." Ethan took a step closer, careful not to invade her space. "You haven't lost everything," he said, his voice calm but resolute. "You just lost someone who was never worthy of you." The words made Sophia look up, her red-rimmed eyes filled with disbelief. "You don't even know me. Why do you care?" Ethan met her gaze, his steady eyes filled with sincerity. "Because I know what it feels like to be told you're not enough. And I know that whoever told you that was wrong." Silence hung between them. For the first time that night, Sophia felt something other than pain. There was something in Ethan's voice, a quiet empathy, an unspoken truth that softened the edges of her heartbreak. Outside, rain began to fall, tapping softly against the windows. The grand wedding had turned into a scandal whispered on everyone's lips. But in this small, dimly lit corridor, Sophia no longer felt entirely alone. In the days following the canceled wedding, Sophia barely left her apartment. Her wedding dress hung over a chair in the corner of the room, a painful reminder of everything she had lost. Her phone buzzed incessantly with calls and messages, ranging from nosy friends to relentless reporters eager for more scandal. Each notification felt like a stab to her heart. Online tabloids were flooded with cruel headlines. Runaway bride, Andrew Morrison ends marriage at the altar. Sophia Reynolds, not good enough for the Morrison legacy? The harsh public judgment only deepened her humiliation. She hadn't just lost love, she had lost her sense of self-worth. One afternoon, as Sophia sat staring blankly out the window, the doorbell rang. She opened it to find Ethan Brooks standing there, holding a plain brown paper bag. "I figured you didn't eat yesterday, so I brought you something," he said, his tone kind and sincere. Sophia took the bag, her throat tightening with emotion. Inside was a simple sandwich and a bottle of water. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice still hoarse. Ethan nodded but didn't leave immediately. "You shouldn't blame yourself for what happened. No one deserves to be treated like that." Sophia let out a bitter laugh. "Really? Because from where I'm sitting, I'm just the punchline of the year." Ethan was quiet for a moment before speaking again. "Sophia, if you want people to stop judging you, let me help." She frowned, confused. "Help me? What do you mean?" Ethan took a deep breath, his expression serious but resolute. "Marry me." Sophia's eyes widened in disbelief. "You're joking, right? We don't even know each other." "Not joking," Ethan said firmly. "It doesn't have to be a real marriage. No strings, no expectations, just a way for you to move forward, to show them that what Andrew did hasn't broken you." Sophia stared at him, her emotions a mix of shock and skepticism. "Why would you do this?" "Because I've been where you are," Ethan replied. "And I know what it feels like to want to prove to the world that you're not a failure. You don't have to fight this alone." Sophia considered his words. It was a strange proposition, but perhaps Ethan was the only person who truly understood her pain. The next day, in a small courthouse, they were officially married. There was no extravagant dress or audience of onlookers, just two people, each carrying their own scars, embarking on an uncertain journey together. In the weeks following their marriage, Sophia slowly adjusted to life in Ethan Brooks' modest apartment. It was nothing like the lavish world she had once shared with Andrew. There were no extravagant furnishings, just simple, functional items neatly arranged. Ethan was a quiet man. He respected Sophia's space and kept everything at a comfortable distance. Yet his small gestures, making dinner when she was too tired, quietly fixing the broken heater, brought her a sense of comfort she hadn't expected. Still, there was something about Ethan that remained a mystery. One afternoon, while tidying up, Sophia found a neatly folded letter tucked into the pocket of Ethan's jacket. The envelope bore the elegant logo of Caldwell Holdings. The name rang a bell. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the letter and read its contents. The letter revealed that Ethan was actually Ethan Caldwell, heir to a major investment firm. Curious and unsettled, Sophia turned to the internet. Within moments, countless articles appeared, accompanied by a striking image of Ethan, dressed in a sharp suit, speaking at a charity event. The headlines told a story of a scandalous past. Caldwell CEO steps down after betrayal by fiancé and business partner. Billionaire withdraws from public life, chooses simplicity. Sophia sat frozen, trying to piece everything together. Ethan wasn't just a security guard. He was once a powerful man who had chosen to walk away from it all. That evening, when Ethan returned home, Sophia confronted him. "Ethan, who are you really? I found this." She held up the letter, her voice filled with uncertainty. Ethan paused, his expression unreadable, then let out a deep sigh. "I was hoping you wouldn't have to find out," he said, his tone quieter than usual. "So it's true? You're the heir to Caldwell Holdings? Why did you hide this from me?" Sophia asked, her emotions a swirl of confusion and anger. Ethan nodded, his gaze heavy with regret. "Yes, but I didn't hide it to deceive you. I didn't want you to see me as anyone other than who I really am." He went on to share his story. Ethan had once been deeply in love with Caroline, his former fiancée, only to be betrayed. She used their relationship to gain leverage in a business deal, and when the deal fell apart, she left him. Broken and disillusioned, Ethan stepped down as CEO, abandoning his wealth and the spotlight to live a simpler life and heal. "I didn't want money or status to define me anymore," Ethan finished, his voice steady but raw. Sophia felt her anger dissolve into understanding. He hadn't hidden his past to lie to her, but to protect what mattered most to him, his true self. Life for Sophia and Ethan settled into a quiet rhythm after his secret was revealed. Though Ethan was no longer a CEO or surrounded by opulence, his calm demeanor and quiet confidence made Sophia feel safe. Yet, the outside world wasn't as forgiving. One morning, as Sophia left her favorite cafe after a volunteer shift, she unexpectedly ran into Andrew Morrison. Andrew stood in line as polished as ever, his sharp suit and smug smile as familiar as they were unwelcome. "Sophia," he called out, his voice dripping with mockery. "Quite the comeback, I must say. From being left at the altar to snagging a security guard?" Sophia's knuckles whitened as she gripped her coffee cup. She forced her voice to remain steady, though her heart pounded in her chest. "Andrew, I have nothing to say to you. Move on." But Andrew wasn't finished. He leaned in, his voice dropping into a conspiratorial whisper. "Or maybe it wasn't luck. You knew exactly what you were doing, didn't you? Snagging a Crosswell. A real performance, wasn't it?" His words cut deep, a sharp jab at her self-worth. She turned to leave, but his parting remark froze her in place. "You don't belong in his world, Sophia. People like you never do." That evening, Sophia returned home in silence, her mind reeling from Andrew's venomous words. Ethan walked in later, his gaze softening as soon as he saw her face. "Sophia, what's wrong?" he asked, sitting across from her. She took a shaky breath, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ethan, do you ever wonder if you made a mistake with me?" His brows furrowed. "What? Why would you ask that? Where is this coming from?" She hesitated before confessing. "I saw Andrew today. He said I don't belong in your world. And maybe he's right." Silence filled the room. But instead of anger, Ethan's expression softened. He stood and extended his hand. "Come with me," he said gently. Confused, Sophia followed him. Ethan led her to his small office. From the highest shelf, he pulled down an old wooden box and set it on the desk. "This holds part of my past that I haven't shared with you," he said, opening the lid. Inside were old letters and a photograph of Ethan with a beautiful woman. "Who is she?" Sophia asked softly. "Caroline," Ethan replied, his voice low. "She was my fiancée. I thought she loved me, but the truth is, she only loved what I could give her. Money, power. When I lost everything, she left without a word." Ethan took a deep breath, his eyes clouded with emotion. "That's when I realized, not everyone loves you for who you are. I walked away from that life because I didn't want to be defined by my wealth anymore." Sophia felt her heart ache. "Ethan, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you went through so much." He turned to her, his gaze steady. "Sophia, I didn't marry you out of pity or some sense of obligation. I married you because you're the only person who has ever seen me, truly seen me for who I am, not for what I have. And that's all I've ever wanted." Sophia's tears spilled over as she looked up at him. Ethan's words erased every doubt in her mind. Andrew might think she didn't belong in Ethan's world, but Ethan had proven that she belonged in his heart for love and nothing else. After their heartfelt conversation, Sophia began to feel lighter, but the scars of her past still lingered. Ethan, realizing she needed more than just words, decided to take action. He believed that for Sophia to truly move on, she needed to see herself as someone worthy of love. In the days that followed, Ethan made it his mission to bring joy back into Sophia's life. He took her to places she had never been before, starting with small but meaningful outings. One crisp morning, Ethan invited Sophia for a walk in the park. He showed her how to fly a kite and teased her when she struggled to keep it in the air. For the first time in weeks, Sophia's laughter filled the air. On a rainy afternoon, Ethan took her to a cozy art museum. They spent hours admiring oil paintings. Sophia confided that she had once dreamed of becoming a painter but never had the chance to pursue it. On another day, they stopped by a quaint cafe on the corner of a quiet street. Ethan kept telling funny stories, making her laugh until she felt like all her burdens had melted away. Gradually, through these simple moments, Sophia felt the weight on her heart begin to lift. Ethan's quiet, persistent kindness didn't just help her heal, it planted seeds of hope in her heart. Finally, Ethan planned something special. He invited Sophia on a weekend trip to the beach, where he had prepared a surprise just for her. That evening, as the sun dipped lower on the horizon, Sophia and Ethan strolled barefoot along the shore, the waves lapping gently at their feet. The sky was awash with shades of orange and gold, casting a warm glow over the water. Ethan led her to a large rock near the water's edge, where they sat, letting the cool sand settle beneath them. "Sophia," Ethan began, his voice soft yet steady, "there's something I've been meaning to tell you." She turned to him, her eyes filled with a mixture of curiosity and shyness. "What is it?" Ethan took a deep breath. "When I first met you, you were broken, much like I was. But over time, I realized that you're not just strong. You're deserving of so much more than you've ever been given." Sophia let out a small laugh. "Are you trying to make me cry?" Ethan leaned closer, his gaze warm but unwavering. "No, I'm trying to tell you that I love you, not because you needed saving, but because you gave me a reason to love and live again." His words made Sophia's breath hitch. "Ethan, I don't even know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," Ethan interrupted gently, taking her hand in his. "I'm not asking for anything more than what you're ready to give. But if you're willing, I'd like us to not just end here. I want us to be forever." Sophia looked at him, tears shimmering in the fading sunlight. "Ethan, I love you too, and I'm ready." Ethan smiled, pulling her into a tight embrace. The sound of the waves lapping against the shore seemed to echo their moment. The radiant sunset bore witness to a love that wasn't born from pain, but from healing and hope. Sophia and Ethan returned to the city after their beach trip, and everything felt different. No longer just two broken souls. They had truly found happiness and peace in each other. As time passed, Ethan decided to host a grand charity gala, not to restore his image or reclaim his status, but for a more meaningful purpose, to bring hope to those who had endured loss, just like they once had. Sophia, dressed in an elegant navy gown, walked hand in hand with Ethan as they entered the grand hall. She felt a flicker of nervousness, but the way Ethan looked at her, with unwavering confidence, made her feel like she belonged. During the gala, Ethan took the stage. The spotlight illuminated him, commanding the room's attention. His voice was steady yet filled with emotion as he began to speak. "We're here tonight to support those in need, to remind them that even when life feels like it's taken everything away, they still deserve a second chance. I know this because I've been there. I've lost everything I thought defined me, but I found hope again, thanks to someone who showed me what really matters." He paused, his gaze finding Sophia among the crowd. A warm smile spread across his face as he continued. "And on a personal note, I'd like to share something. I once thought I had to live in the shadow of my past, but thanks to someone very special, I've learned to trust and love again. Sophia Reynolds, you didn't just help me heal. You've shown me that real love means facing life's challenges together and building a brighter future, side by side." Sophia stood stunned, her eyes brimming with tears. The room fell silent for a moment before erupting into applause. Later that night, after the gala had ended, Sophia and Ethan returned to their apartment. On the rooftop, the city lights stretched out like a galaxy of stars, and a gentle breeze danced through the air. Ethan turned on soft music and extended his hand toward Sophia. "May I have this dance?" he asked with a playful smile. Sophia chuckled, nodding. "Always, Ethan." They swayed together under the soft glow of the moon and the stars. Ethan pulled her closer, his voice a tender whisper. "I thought I knew what happiness was, but now I know that true happiness is being with you." Sophia looked up at him, her eyes full of love. "I thought I had lost everything, but it turns out what I truly needed was you." In that moment, surrounded by the sparkling city lights and the quiet hum of the night, they knew their love was the perfect ending to a journey of healing, hope, and finding one another.